Hi my lovies and welcome back to Penneys Week. So today's video is going to be like a different kind of video because I wanted to do something I think out of the box for this video. I didn't want it to be like the more generic kind of videos that we do, so I thought it'd be really fun to see if Penneys has any dupes for high-end products. So I went through my entire collection and all the Penneys makeup that I have, and I found I'd say about 10 different kind of dupes. Some of them are identical, which I'm very happy about, and some of them are quite close, and then some of them are different shades but exactly the same properties, or they do the same thing basically. So that's what today's video is gonna be. So this product for me is kind of a cool product. This is actually the My Perfect Color Liquid Concealer from Penneys, or Primark, whatever you want to call it. I thought this looked really similar to the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. It is quite similar, I'm not gonna lie, in packaging definitely quite similar, and they look similar on my skin, but I found a closer dupe for it, and that is the Naked Skin Concealer from Urban Decay. I feel like these are almost, if not identical dupes. This is a super high coverage concealer, and I was actually shocked by how high coverage it was for something from Penneys. It covers up all my dark circles underneath my eyes, and it's not as thick as the Radiant Creamy Concealer from NARS. That's why I think it's more like the Naked Skin. Even the applicator is quite similar, really flat doe foot wand. On the Penneys one, it's almost, if not identical, the doe foot wand. And the consistency of them is so similar, and they blend out the same underneath my eyes. I get the same coverage and everything like that. So that is the Penneys one, and that is the Naked Skin one. Naked Skin is like a tad bit more full coverage, like a tad. But I think that they are very comparable. The Penneys one is €3 and the Naked Skin I think is like 22, 23, something like that. So to find a dupe, to say I was happy was an understatement. So definitely guys, check out the My Perfect Concealer from Penneys. You'll be shocked. One of my all-time favorite lip liners in the entire world is MAC's Whirl, and from Penneys I found a dupe. So MAC's Whirl is just this gorgeous brown, like mauvey, I don't know what you call it, but it's like my all-time favorite lip liner. I'm wearing it today, and the dupe that I found from it is the Nude Lip Liner from Penneys. It's like identical. Hang on now here. I've definitely spoken about this before. That's the Penneys one, and that's MAC's Whirl. How alike they are, and definitely as lip liners on my lips, they're just so comparable. You can see that I like my Whirl lip liner. I've used up a full one of these, and now I'm on my second one and it's almost gone. But I love the Penneys one also, and the Penneys one lasts as long on your lips as the MAC's Whirl. I do find a little bit that MAC's Whirl is a tiny bit drier than the Penneys one, but they last exactly the same. They blend out quite similar. They look the same on my mouth, and I just love them. And I'm just so obsessed with the fact that you could buy like a dupe for MAC's Whirl, which is what, 15-16 euro for like 150. Hello Penneys, you're rocking my world, girl. We all know that Penneys do lip kits, but this particular shade I have here is called Obsessed, and I thought that this lip kit looked very like Coco K from Kylie Cosmetics, so I said, hang on here now, let's compare it. The lip liner is not like Coco K at all, but it's actually the liquid lipstick that is so similar. So there we have the Penneys one. The Penneys one is in the shade Obsessed, and then obviously Coco K from Kylie Cosmetics. I'll just put that right beside it. So that is the two there. I don't know if you can tell a difference. I think that the Coco K is a tiny bit more pink, like ever so slightly more pink, but all in all, once they're on your mouth, they really look quite similar. The Penneys one dries down quite similar to the Kylie Cosmetics liquid lipsticks, which is a tad bit drying for me, but that's just the formula of them. If you are on the lookout for Coco K, but you are thinking that the price tag was a little bit too much for what you're getting, then definitely go with the Penneys one. Like I said, they are very comparable. Coco K, tiny bit more pink, tiny, that's it there. But Obsessed, Coco K on the mouth, you wouldn't know. You really wouldn't. Now this one is from their new PS Brunch Club highlighter, and I was really excited to receive the whole lot of these highlighters. When I received it, I was like, that reminds me of another highlighter I have. What one does it remind me of? So I went through my collection and discovered that Brunch Club and Jeffree and Manny MUA's Skin Frost in Eclipse is quite similar to the Brunch Club one. So Brunch Club I think is like €2 or €3, and this one was was it 20 euro? I'm not really sure, but it was a lot more expensive than 2 or 3 euro. And they look very similar on the cheek. Can do a side by side if you guys would like eventually for pennies and high end. So that's the pennies one there. And this is the Manny and Jeffree Star one. So I'm just gonna put that underneath. Obviously the Manny one is a little bit more brighter, but because it's like a more creamy consistency, whereas the pennies one is a tad bit drier, but the actual shade and color when they're on your cheekbones is identical and you really can't notice a huge difference with them. I was actually super surprised to find a dupe for Jeffree Star because I do think that his formulas and his products are quite unique, whereas to find something from Penneys that is cheaper and looks the same, I mean, happy days. Mascara I think is really hard to get right because for me, I don't have many lashes. They just don't exist. So I want my lashes to look big and I want a mascara to bring them out. And I found that the Runway Ready PS mascara was actually really good for doing that, and it's only $2.50. But when I was looking at it, I was like, oh my god, the wand on this reminds me so much of my They're Real from Benefit. Not only does the wand look the same, but the formula is very comparable. I don't know if you can see them there. So that's both the wands. This is the Penneys one, obviously with the silver lid, and then the darker lid is the one from Benefit. They are quite similar, the wands, and the formula is quite similar as well. This gives me really long lashes and it kind of separates them and makes them real volumized, and this one I find does the exact same. So if you can pick up the Runway Ready mascara from Penneys, then you have a very close dupe for the They're Real. Now these are not identical in colors, but the actual consistency of them and the look you want to achieve is quite similar. These are the strobe creams from PS Love range from Penneys, and they look like this. So you get big tubes of them, and the product is obviously inside. They come in loads of different shades. I just have 2. Correct me if I'm not wrong, but I think they come in 6 different shades. And wait till you see the pigmentation on these. Like, they're just super pigmented. Like, I was actually crazy surprised with how pigmented these are, and I've used them on my face and they're lovely on my face. This is what they look like. They are extremely bright and illuminating. Did find that the consistency of them and the way they look on my cheekbones reminds me a lot of the iconic illumination drops. These are like 30 euro, whereas the ones from Penneys are around 3 or 4, and these look quite similar. Now obviously the applicator is different and the shade that I actually have in this one is different. How pigmented and bright they are is so similar. So this is the iconic one, and these are both the Penneys ones, and they're just as bright, if not brighter, than the iconic London one. And I feel like the shades that Penneys actually have are more versatile. Like, I feel like I would get more use out of this kind of goldy shade, whereas the iconic London doesn't have anything like that. I do love the iconic London original one that I have, but it's very expensive for what it is, and if you're not a liquid highlighter kind of gal, then you know it's an awful lot of money to spend on them. So pick up the Penneys ones. I mean, you're not missing out too much if you pick these up over that one. I just feel like they're much better. 2 years ago, guys, I dedicated an entire video to this lipstick, and it's from PS Love, and it's their nude lipstick, the only nude lipstick that they actually have. The consistency of it is amazing. It's this gorgeous nudie brown, and it's just absolutely perfect on my lips, long lasting, and it costs $2.50. But I found the dupe for it, and like I said, I did a whole video of it. I will link it down below, and it's comparable to Velvet Teddy. So don't know if you can see them there. That is the nude one from Penneys, and that is Velvet Teddy. The only thing I will say about Velvet Teddy is obviously it's a little bit more long lasting, and it is a touch more of a warm brown, whereas the Penneys one is slightly more cool. But once they are on your lips, you honestly can't tell the difference. I don't know, I'll hold them like that. The longevity of both of these is amazing, and for something like $2.50 that you can get in comparable to like a 20 euro lipstick, I mean, happy days. Nobody is complaining, especially not me. So definitely pick it up and try it out. This is the red liquid lipstick from Penneys, and this is called Lady in Red. Now this is super comparable to the MAC Retro Matte liquid lipsticks, and this feels so grand. The one from Penneys is this gorgeous, like, just look at that, it's like a blood red, and then the one from MAC is such a similar color. Now I will obviously say, so that's the MAC one and that's the Penneys one. I will say that the Penneys one is obviously not as long lasting. Guys, could you get a closer color? Because I don't think you could. If you looked for a million years, would you get a closer color? And for the price, they're like what, 4 euro, and the retro matte liquid liquid lipsticks are extremely expensive. I think they're like in the 20s. Definitely check them out. Now this is one of the products that's not exactly a dupe, but it is quite close. This is the Brow Fiber Gel from PS, and it looks like this. So you have a tiny little wand on it, and it has little fibers in it. And I think it's quite similar to the Gimme Brow from Benefit. Now the wand on the Benefit one is a tiny bit smaller, but it still has the same fibers in it and the same kind of idea, and once run through your brows they're quite similar. The Penneys one is a little bit of a darker shade, but it does come in lighter shades. I just happen to have the darker one. Both these products set my eyebrows in place and keep them like set all day, and I think that the packaging even is kind of like a play. I'm actually really surprised with the quality of this Brow Fiber Gel. I used it last week for the first time and I've been using it every day since, and it is a really good formula, especially for something that costs like €2 or €3 compared to something like that's €20. I picked up this blush from Penneys like last week, and it's in the shade Rosewood, and when I saw it I was like, that is just a gorgeous blush. But it's also a dupe for Hypness from the Power Collection from MAC. They are identical on the cheeks. I honestly couldn't believe it when I picked them up. This one is a little bit sheerer actually, and takes a little bit more to build it up, believe it or not, even though it's from MAC. Whereas this one is so much more pigmented. Like, look how pigmented that is. It's actually crazy how pigmented it is, because it is such an affordable blush. I mean, it's $2.50, whereas Hypness, it just takes a little bit to build up. So that is Hypness on the bottom, and that is the Penneys one on the top. Honestly, on the cheeks, guys, they are identical. This one has a tiny bit more of a satin finish. I think it is. Oh, it's actually a frost finish, whereas this is a matte finish, but I don't notice the frost in this. Now this is actually limited edition, so if you want something that looks like it, then go pick up Rosewood from Penneys or Primark, whatever you want to call it. I am just super excited that I found something from MAC. Like, when I find MAC dupes, I'm like, this is great, because the products are so expensive from MAC and they're really cool and unique, I often think. So to find something like this that's so comparable to a MAC product is just like making my day. My second last dupe is actually for one of the Kylie Cosmetics Mary Jo K lip liner, and I showed you the liquid lipstick from this earlier on, and this is Lady in Red. I think Lady in Red and Mary Jo K are extremely similar. That's the Penneys one and that's Mary Jo K. So the only difference I will say with Mary Jo K is it is a teeny bit more pigmented. I feel like the Penneys one, just you need to layer it a little bit more to get the opacity that you get from this in one application. The liquid lipstick from Penneys and Mary Jo K are different though. Like I said, it's more like the MAC one, the one that I showed you. It feels so grand. So there is another dupe for you, Mary Jo K and the Lady in Red from Penneys. Now my last dupe for you, or my last kind of product that I want to talk to you about, is not the same color, but it is the same kind of product, and it's the Super Sculpt Body Highlighter, and I find that it's very similar to the What's Up. I will just give you a swatch of this one, and I do find that this one is a little bit more drying, and this is what What's Up looks like. So you can see that they're both wind up products. So that's the Penneys one on the top and that's What's Up underneath. Slightly different shade, slightly, ever so slightly, but the product itself, like the whole concept of it and exactly what you would do, is so similar. They're even so similar as down to the sponge. Like, see the way they have the sponge in the top, and I just never seen anything like that before. The one from Penneys is $4.50. I think this is in like the €30 range, so I mean that's crazy, especially since they do the same thing and the shade is like a teeny bit off, but ultimately almost identical. The one thing I will say about the Penneys one though is it's a little tiny bit more drying than the What's Up, so I would kind of just like warm it up maybe on the palm of your hand or something. It's just, it needs to be warmed. So is that not close? Because I think it is. Okay guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I am so excited that Penneys week is going really well and you guys are enjoying it. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you tomorrow for another fun video. Tomorrow's going to be my skincare video, so I hope you guys will enjoy that. Mwah! Bye guys.